Yo, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back one more time. It is your boy back one more time with your favorite show, with your favorite bro. QuickTakez is back, episode 1C of season 3. And let's get right into it. 1-1 in the season so far. You know, it's, we could have been 2-0. We would have liked to be 2-0. But can you really mind a Chiefs loss? Not really. So we keep it moving on a positive note with a loss, but essentially a win. We keep it moving. First one up, it is the Raiders at the Patriots. Gotta roll with the Raiders, right? You already see the black jersey. You already know what it is. It is the season opener. Can't start out with the loss. Usually, the reason why I do this in the mornings right before the game, it is to gain as much information as I can to give you guys the best picks that I can. Um, yeah, so gotta go with the Raiders in this one. For the Patriots, Ramondre Stevenson, he already should feel some type of way with the way Travion Henderson's kind of getting trotted out there, the way they've been talking. But if there's clarity and communication between them, there's nothing there. But, it could also be a Kyle Duggar situation where they're looking to trade him, and some other stuff kind of arises. We'll see what happens there. But after that, it's very interesting to see. I think the talent level wise, they're all evened out. Losing Christian Gonzalez does hurt their secondary, but Carlton Davis is still there. Um, Offensively, talent wise, Stephon Diggs and Jacoby Myers, in my opinion, do even out, but there is no buddy like on either side that's close to Brock Bowers. You still do have Ashton Genty to look out for. Michael Mayer, yes, he has not been talked about as much. He did miss out on much of last season due to personal issues, but he's going to be back. Dante Thornton, there's going to be pieces around that can and should help Gino get his first win in the home opener against a second-year quarterback, against a new rookie head coach who is setting in his culture as well with a new group of players. Should be interesting to see. Cardinals at the Saints. Talk about second-year players. Spencer Rattler gets his moment, but how long his lease? That's going to be a very interesting watch. Tyler Shuck, I am not a big fan of. We'll see how long he's kept in the woodworks and he gets brought out probably before the end of this season. So you know who your quarterback is or what the situation for that position is going into next season. So they still have a lot of question marks in their end. Cardinals defense, I feel like, has been underrated the last at least year. This year, they actually added a lot more talent, including Josh Sweat from the Super Bowl champions in the Philadelphia Eagles. So having that type of experience, and then there comes talent like a Will Johnson who slipped to them in the second round. That should be interesting as well. So yeah, in this one, I gotta rock out with the Cardinals. I trust Kyler more than any of the quarterbacks on the Saints roster. Probably should have drafted Shador. Told him should have drafted Shador, but I don't want to be in that hype up and all of that. We'll keep it moving. Dolphins at the Colts. R.I.P. Mr. Jim Irsay. I mean, not that I know him personally. Everything I know is out of Pat McAfee's show and from him. Uh, like Mr. Al Davis, he has been a tremendous figure that has not been given the spotlight of what he has actually done for the league. I hope that does come with winning and everything, kind of like Chiefs right now, reveling in their wins. But yeah, RIP to him. I think his spirit's going to be there in that building for sure. That has to propel them. Daniel Jones' first start, you have to kind of set the tone for this regime. If you lose out in this one for either team, it's going to set the example for how this regime's going to come to an end, whether it is in Indy or in Miami. Keeping it moving, Steelers at the Jets, the Aaron Rodgers Bowl or Justin Fields Bowl, whichever one you want to call it. Got to rock out with the Steelers in this one. I mean, the veteran experience that the Steelers possess just kind of takes the cake there. Tomlin against a rookie head coach. He already beat Raheem Morris last year in week one, who already had a prior head coaching experience. So against a first-time head coaching, Aaron Glenn, even though, Steelers are the one traveling out to East Rutherford. I think it is going to be a tough one, but I do feel, especially after the Elijah Vera Tucker injury, Steelers take this one, and hopefully their O line, very very young, they gel over the course of the season because that's going to be the biggest question mark for them for Mike Tomlin to get his playoff win and keep that streak going, but also get that playoff win. Talk about the Jets, gotta talk about the other side of New York. The Giants are going down to Washington in a divisional matchup against the Commanders, and I am taking the upset in this one, and I'm rocking out with the Giants. Why do I say that? Well, Russ last year in the beginning of the year did play extremely well with the Steelers, looked like a QB1, and then came the downturn. So in the beginning of the season, I do expect Russ to play well, his veteran experience to kind of permeate throughout the roster, especially offensively. I do believe in Brian Daboll's ability to put some points up, and that defense is gonna be absolutely filthy, especially that front seven. When you look at Abdul Carter in the first round, when you look at Kayvon Thibodeau, when you look at Brian Burns through trade, you still got Sexy Dexy, and that's just in the D line. Now you come out and you got to look at the trenches, and you still got Bobby Okereke and Micah McFadden and some other pieces. That is a very, very, very solid defense, especially in the front end. And in that division, you need that. You just saw Dallas go out and do that. So, gotta rock out with the Giants in this one. I still have questions regarding Washington's offensive line. Yes, they did upgrade with Laremy Tunsil, but the interior of the line, Sam Cosmi's health and injury record's not the best. Outside of that, there isn't really anybody that's of a premium level. They played well last year. Are they going to be able to sustain that level this year? Interesting to see. Got to rock out with the Giants in this one. Moving on, Panthers at the Jaguars. This is the matchup of the two top wide receivers. You have Travis Hunter on one side with Trevor Lawrence. Actually, you have two top number one overall quarterbacks as well with Bryce Young, and you want to go Xavier Leggett, second round pick, or you want to go T Mac in the first round. I do believe it might come down to the rookie, whoever one makes the most plays, because like I mentioned, Leggett on one side, you still do have Brian Thomas on the other side as well. Establishing the run is going to be key. I think both defenses are going to be hunting. Should be interesting, but slight edge, especially at home. They're probably going to be clown town and make me look like a clown. But this one, I'm taking them over the Carolina Panthers. Moving on, Bengals at the Browns. I'm sorry. It is another divisional matchup. I already called them Broncos. Because I don't want to think about the Browns. They just irk me for whatever reason. Like I just feel like it's a business malpractice from like head down for the way that they run their business. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, just no. Bengals win this, hopefully by a lot. Joe Burrow at quarterback. I mean, yeah, I'm just gonna say that. Buccaneers at Falcons, a possible NFC South preview. Should be interesting to see this one. I think Falcons will give up a fight, but I am rocking out with the Bucks in this one. Why do I say that? Because Emeka Abuka is who I believe what Jackson Smith and Jigba has just been. I think he's gonna be in that same mode. JSN went to Seattle. He had DK and Tyler Lockett. The veterans kind of teach him the ropes the first 2 years. By last year, he's a Pro Bowler himself. First couple of years, he gets in. Micah gets integrated with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and then he takes that mantle, and he is the wide receiver one there. Jason Light, one of the best GMs that's severely underrated, has been paying any and everybody. Just pay their corner as well, so they're all working in unison. Should be interesting to see them take that next step. Got to see if they're going to take the next step. Atlanta, I don't know. They had a good defense last year. They couldn't get or finish sacks last year. That might change. They added, solid pieces defensively. Two very very young, dynamic pieces. in their front seven. After that, in the back end, you still do have Micah Hyde, you still do have AJ Terrell, so they're not bums back there either. But outside of Drake London, is Kyle Pitts really gonna actually show up this time? Yeah, just I have a lot more security with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers than I do with um, the Atlanta Falcons, at least so far. Gotta see what it is going forward. Niners traveling up the Pacific Northwest to take on the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. Gotta take the Seattle Seahawks in this one. Why? How you not gonna be a Bay homer? Well, the home field advantage is coming back up in Seattle. Seattle did have 10 wins last year as well. Right now, Kenneth Walker is healthy. Zach Charbonnet is healthy. That O line is healthy. As long as they're healthy, I do believe Seattle is a very, very good team. We played them in the preseason. We ended up in a tie. They didn't even play their starters. And yeah, I do believe currently, arguably, Seattle's man for man, Seattle's defense arguably better than the San Francisco 49ers. That's not an outlandish thing to say. If you really go compare man to man, you'll see what I'm talking about. Offensively, too, the offensive line of Seattle, extremely untrustworthy. The Niners' offensive line, unknown. So, yeah, talk about the unknowns. Christian McCaffrey, the biggest unknown for the Niners. Don't know if he's going to be playing. That's going to be a detriment to their season, just like last year. So we keep it moving. Seattle in that one. Titans at the Broncos. The massacre for the number one overall pick, Cam Ward. I don't know why the NFL is setting him up in this manner. I don't know what is like their beef with him. The way he has been covered to everything. I know it's Tennessee and everything, but has not been like anything for the like of a number one overall pick. But you know what? Just work in silence, bro. Just prove your haters wrong step by step, slice by slice, cut them all off. They never roll for you. You don't gotta write them back. Yeah, Broncos take this one. I hope it's like I did call it a massacre. I hope it doesn't turn into how some of the college games were turning into yesterday. This could be the biggest blowout of. Uh, yeah, I'm sorry, Cam. I think your offensive line is improved. I think they are going to be solid, but having to take on this front seven and this defense this early, that's just unfair for you, and I feel for you. But yeah, I'm sorry. Moving on. Lions at the Packers, another divisional matchup. Thank you, NFL, once again for all these divisional games. In this one, I gotta go roll with the Lions. Why? It's really simple. They have had their number since Aaron Rodgers. Since Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers' last game, he had to walk off the field sad in Lambeau because they missed the playoffs because they lost to the Detroit Lions. That's when the same old Lions turned into the brand new Lions under MCDC. Why do I mention that? Because it's not going to be that easy. Yes, Michael Parsons, woo, 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 woo. But one of the reasons why Packers actually did, you know, carry their success was they had BJ Raji before, then they moved to Kenny Clark, and their trenches were secured. And right now, I do, from what I know, one of them is TJ Slate. I have no idea who their other D tackle is. Who Rashawn Gary and Michael Parsons is going to be able to go hunt the quarterback. But if somebody runs the ball down your throat, I do not see the Packers stopping it, especially straight down behind the center, behind the right guard, behind zero chance. They I feel like swap souls with the Dallas Cowboys. I've mentioned that before. And Lions, I think their physicality, their offensive line is hindered with Frank Ragnow being or having retired. But yeah, gotta rock out with the Lions in this one. Hutchinson coming back off that injury, having to miss all that time period. He's just like burning on the inside to let everything out. Right tackle with the Packers. I am sorry for you. I think this one's going to be a hard game for you. Um, and just the trust factor of the weapons. Jameson Williams just got paid. You have Laporta, I trust more than Luke Musgrave. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's a solidified number one over Matthew Golden, who's a rookie coming in to become a number one, who eventually might become a number one, but is not a number one just yet because he hasn't even played down yet. But yeah, that's where we're at with that one. Texans at the Rams. Got to take the Rams in this one. I do believe Matthew Stafford is playing, so got to rock out with the veteran. Third year of CJ Stroud. We had a up year in his rookie year. We had a down year in his rookie year. So are we going up? Are we going down? Are we flatlining? Where are we at with you, CJ? I do believe you're trending back up. I do believe you are, a top 10 quarterback on your best day. Offensive line wise, I think you got screwed. Could be wrong, but I don't think losing a Laramie Tunsil when your offensive line was already not that elite, I don't think that helps you at all or your offensive line. You kind of turn into Joe Burrow-ish. You could have all the weapons in the world, but you're probably not going to make the playoffs. But you still have, Will Anderson. You still have Danielle Hunter, maybe for another year, and then yeah, both of your contracts come up. Once Will and CJ need to get paid, nobody in the Texans will get paid. Nico Collins, probably around the time he starts moving, they'll start looking at another wide receiver one in the draft. Tank Dell might get a deal because since he hasn't played a year or two, they might get him for the cheaper, keep him around a little bit longer, and that's probably how they go moving forward. They might keep Dalton Schultz, tight end, sure. But I mean, trenches wise, I still don't see them kind of matching up. Their secondary, I do think, is absolutely lethal and should be a fun matchup against the Rams' weapons. But just don't see the Texans having enough juice in the trenches to beat the Rams. Rams, that too, I feel like they still have a bitter taste in their mouth coming off that loss against the Eagles, who ended up eventually winning the Super Bowl. So they still feel like they could have had it last year. Matthew Stafford's essentially on his way out, pretty much on the same trajectory as Aaron Rodgers, probably another year or two at max, maybe. Maybe this is the last year. But yeah, should be interesting to see how the quarterbacks bear out. But the trenches goes to the Rams, and I gotta go with the trenches in this one. Last but not the least, we are finally here. 20th anniversary. Shout out to Sunday Night Football. Ravens at the Bills. The divisional matchup renewed, reunited, and we are here. Uh, is this gonna be Lamar's revenge game? I mean, my guy did lose out on his MVP last season, so it should be interesting to see. They won 35-10 earlier in the season last year. Is this gonna mean anything? Absolutely not. Um, Unfortunately, they did end up losing 27-25 in the divisional round. Is that going to be, the revenge on the rest of their mind? I'm rocking out with the Ravens just because of that. I don't think Baltimore is already just off of talent and grit wise are a hard team to play against. And then if they're already extra motivated, like it's a Steelers game or some possibly a Chiefs game or something of that magnitude, gotta probably rock out with them. Like I know you're the favorite here, but I mean it's two favorites going at against each other. You don't really have an underdog to kind of pick in this fight, so when picking up both favorites, you just gotta go with your gut. My gut tells me when you have Derrick Henry running the ball, when you don't have linebackers the size of Terrell Edmonds anymore, it's gonna be harder for you to stop them. Yes, you have Ed Oliver and all those guys, and they're gonna have to stop in the front line. It's gonna be very, very, very interesting to watch this game because I mean it might be a preview for the AFC Championship. divisional round again. Maybe they even face off. Highly doubtful that they face off in the first round, as both teams I would expect to be in that upper echelon of the AFC. Could it happen in the wild card round? Possibly, but I really do think it's more likely to be divisional or AFC championship. They already had the divisional matchups, like I mentioned last time around. I feel like the weapons that Josh Allen has. You, I mean, you lost Amari Cooper. Yeah, Khalil Shakir still there, but I'm still questioning it. I don't know. Baltimore, that secondary. Oh, the way that they've rebuilt that secondary. They had Jair Alexander now. That kind of just puts them over the top. You had Marlon Humphrey, who came back to his Pro Bowl self last year. Nate Wiggins in his second year taking that necessary steps. Kyle Hamilton just got paid. Yeah, if they ever wanted, they could go get Edwards, if I'm not mistaken, or one of their former safety who's still a free agent. They could go back and get him. But yeah, they're stacked defensively. They're stacked offensively. Special team wise, I mean, John Harbaugh was a special team coordinator turned head coach, so I think they will be solidified there. So in all three aspects of the game, they will be solidified. This one being in Buffalo, it does kind of, like Buffalo will have home field advantage for sure. Not they paid. I mean, essentially everybody as well. Let James Cook just got paid, so is James gonna cook? That's going to be questionable. I mean, preseason, I don't think he got as much of the touches as I would have liked for him to. But I feel like at this point, I'm just blabbering and nitpicking at any and everything for them. They still do have that Dawson Knox. They still do have Kincaid that should be coming up on his payday soon as well. But he needs to step up his performances and turn into a reliable pass catcher, because that's essentially what they brought him for. Um, yeah, and just be available. Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. Both quarterbacks are mobile, so every play is going to be, like energy filled at the very least. And yeah, that's where we are at with this week's episode of Quick Takes. Thank you guys for tuning in for this inaugural version. I hope you guys are here for the Monday Night Football one tomorrow. And tune in. Rest of the season, I will be blabbering like this throughout the season. I have over 220 wins, not to show off, two over 100 losses as well. But your boy will still be here picking on these games. Till next time, thank you guys once again for tuning in. Go like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Don't sue me busting with the boys, but big hugs, tiny kisses, and all